Hi, I'm Nina. Nina Geometrieva. I'm a designer at Google. I come from Macedonia, but now I live in Singapore. It was by accident, I guess. Completely unplanned. I was studying computer science, and I was playing in a band at the time. And we were doing some gigs, like as any band, I guess. And I was kind of the default person who was designing the posters. I was the go-to designer at the time because I just had Photoshop installed for some reason. And that's how it all started. Like I started loving it so much, just designing posters at home all day, all night, that I actually stopped going to university. I stopped performing with the band. And I just locked myself in a room for like 6 months or so, just designing posters for imaginary things, for things that don't exist. And 6 months later, I got my first job offer for a graphic designer. And I was like over the roof. I was so happy. Like I had no idea that I can make money from that. And that's when I figured for the first time, like, hey, maybe this is something I could do. Like seriously, it's not just a hobby anymore. And yeah, here I am. So I'm working in Google. I'm working on a new product, and yeah, it's secret, so I can't say much at the moment. But I joined 3 months ago, and it's really exciting. It's amazing. I love it so far. It's really challenging. I haven't worked in a team that challenges me so much, and I'm happy because I finally feel like I'm the dumbest person in the room. But that's great. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Yeah. Well, I brought myself to Singapore. It was a really planned move. Yeah, I guess it was the next thing on my journey. And even though it's not the final place in my journey, it's a very significant one because it changed me a lot. How do I improve? I think improving as a designer is really, as an interaction designer, is really related to improving as a human. So I guess the question is, how do I improve as a human? I feel like putting myself in an uncomfortable situation works. Just making sure I'm surrounded with people and an environment that's constantly challenging me. You know, I recently mentioned like just feeling like the dumbest person in the room helps. These little challenges every day, or like challenges where you challenge yourself, like, hey, this feels very uncomfortable, but maybe I should say it, but no, I shouldn't. And when you spot a situation like that, I just try to kind of jump in and do it. I don't know, it feels a bit weird, like forcing yourself to do these things, but that's kind of keeping me on edge. I don't want to grow up, I don't want to get old, and that works for outside, but also inside. So I'm just trying to find any ways where I can stay sharp, stay ahead of the curve. I don't want to be the grandma that's like, what does this button do and how do I don't want to be that. Maybe it'll come, maybe it's a biological change that's bound to happen, but I try to delay it as much as possible. If you have another strategy, let me know. Yeah, I mean, it could be an advantage, but it's about how do you want to spend your time? Do you feel like if you're doing a few different things at once, at the same time, you will be able to do them all well? Maybe you can, but then would you have the time to do all of that? That's why for myself, I've usually focused on trying to be good at this one thing and having this broad understanding, but then having this focus, this specialization. So kind of like the T model, where you have broad interests, but this one deep understanding of one thing. Probably for startups, it makes sense to have broader skills. It's always a plus because whether you want it or not, you are doing many things. And that's a great learning opportunity for someone who's starting out. But I wouldn't say that it's a necessity. And I think that the larger companies have acknowledged this, and they aren't looking for programming skills as a core skill part of a designer.